I'd like to talk to you about the power of kindness. It's the season of goodwill, and many people think about kindness at Christmas in a way that they don't think about it the rest of the year. Kindness is one of those things which very often people find it easier to be on the giving end than they do on the receiving end. And I want to talk to you about how kindness has the power to revolutionize not just your life, but other people's in so many different ways. There are three strands to this in reality. The first strand is being kind to other people. And for many, that's the bit they find easy, particularly if it's somebody that they resonate with, or it's with animals that they feel really comfortable with. Interestingly, I think where kindness can have the greatest power is when you are kind to people who don't look like you, sound like you, who don't belong to you. But the act of kindness is something that gives a gift not only to the person that you're giving it to, but to you too. Being kind raises your vibration. If you're feeling low, one of the ways to really feel good about yourself and about life in general is to engage in random acts of kindness, doing something for somebody without any expectation of a return. And a great example of this is the basket brigade run by Tony Robbins. I was part of that a while ago in London, and we all arrived on a Saturday morning just before Christmas to put together baskets for all of the ingredients to create a great Christmas dinner. Toys and sweets for the children, crackers, done in a beautiful basket with a great big bow. And then we were charged with going to give these to people who had no idea they were coming. The rules were that you were to knock on the door would open, and you would say, "Merry Christmas, I'm giving you this with love," not to receive anything in return, and to disappear and to go to the next one. And I have to say, it was one of the most special experiences of my life, being part of a room of people, all who were ready to give their time, and people had been fundraising the whole year to make this possible. But random acts of kindness don't need to cost you anything. It can be as simple as opening a door or letting somebody out into the traffic when the traffic's really busy. By giving without condition, without expecting something in return, that act of kindness is so much more powerful. So many people are kind, and it's a form of bartering. I'll be kind to you because I want you to be kind to me. I'll be kind to you because I want something from you. But kindness in its most altruistic, purest form is kindness without expectation of return. And it's in that act of kindness that you not only help the person that you are giving to, but you significantly help yourself. As I say, it raises your vibration. And if you're feeling low or feeling depressed or feeling angry or feeling frustrated, being kind to other people is a really great way of raising your mood. And if you were to engage in a random act of kindness every day for 30 days, I can guarantee that you'll be feeling better, better about life and better about yourself. And just think about the impact you're having on other people. It could be as simple as a smile or saying to somebody, "Hello, how are you?" And really meaning, "How are you?" Not "How are you?" and then moving on, but "How are you?" and then listening, holding that space. Active listening can be the greatest act of kindness that you can give anyone, and yet it costs nothing but your time and your intention. Many people find it much easier to give than to receive, and I'm one of those, I have to say. I used to find it very, very difficult to ask for help. Now, I've spent many years completely wheelchair bound. Fortunately, I can walk short distances now, but there was a time when I couldn't, and yet I found it very, very difficult to ask for help. And I was given a really salutary lesson about the impact of allowing people to give to you, to be able to receive as well as to give. I was on a course and I was with a partner, John, and we were talking about kindness. And he asked me, did I like helping other people? Did I like being kind? And I said, yeah, I love it. I love the feeling it gives me. And he said, I've noticed that you find it very difficult to ask other people for help. And I thought about it, and it was very true. And he said, what right have you got to stop other people from gaining the same wonderful feelings that you get when you're kind to other people? And I recognized that this was something I needed to do something about. Well, a couple of days later, I had a really, really strong lesson. The universe has a way of giving us those lessons. It'll give us a little tap, and then it'll give us a knock, and then it'll give us a real kick up the bottom. The course had finished and I was in America, and I'd hired an electric wheelchair, and so off I went to the local mall to buy some Christmas presents. Now, the hotel we were staying in was a couple of miles away from the mall, and it was at the top of a very steep hill. There was a long, almost a mile long drive to the hotel, very nice hotel. And off I'd gone, and I'd done my shopping, and I was coming back, and I hadn't gone far up the hill when my wheelchair died. It had run out of battery. The lights on the chair, like in so many electric wheelchairs, was very, very unreliable. Now, my mobile phone wouldn't work. There was no signal. And there I was. I could walk a couple of steps at this time, but no more. Steep hill, on the wheelchair. What the hell was I going to do? After a few minutes, at which time I have to say I was panicking, a taxi drove into the drive and stopped, and the taxi driver stopped behind me, and he came out. Now, he only spoke Spanish. I don't speak Spanish, but with gesticulations he recognized that there was a problem. He went and he parked his taxi, and he came and he started to push my chair and me up the hill. Not easy, because the hill was steep. I felt dreadful. Very soon afterwards, another taxi arrived. There was obviously another convention or something like that happening, because the taxi arrived, and 4 people got out of the taxi. The taxi driver spoke Spanish to the other Spanish taxi driver, and the guests all got out, and they started to push the taxi driver, and then one behind another, they were pushing the chair up the hill. And then another car, and then another car. So by the time we'd finished, there were 17 people pushing my wheelchair. Everybody was laughing. People in the hotel had stopped and come out to look, because they'd seen it through the window. What on earth was this spectacle of this caravan of a wheelchair with 17 people behind it, all pushing one another, pushing the chair. And everybody was laughing. Everybody felt good. The people who were engaged in giving, although they were out of puff by the end, felt good because they had done something to help someone who was completely helpless at the time. The people who were watching felt good because not only was it very funny, but also they could appreciate the challenge that I was in when people were helping me. So giving, being kind, is so incredibly important, not only to give, but to receive, and to receive graciously. I call it a divine exchange. And there's a real difference, in my view, between receiving as a victim and receiving as somebody who is receiving that gift and receiving it with a whole heart. As a victim, there is that sense almost of entitlement. I can't do it for myself, you've got to help me. When it comes from a full heart and you're receiving that kindness, and you are receiving that with the love that's been given, and you exchange that with the love of gratitude and thanks, then that for me is hugely divine, an exchange of energy which helps both parties. And the interesting thing for me is that the impact of that ripples out, rather like a stone being thrown into the pond. The power of it just ripples and ripples and ripples out. We're living at a time when kindness has never been more needed. We live at a time when there is so much division and hate and fighting. You've only got to look at the news and know what a difficult time we are in at this time in our history. And it would be very easy to become completely disillusioned and depressed about what's going on. It's my belief that the thing that's going to change the world is love. And for me, kindness is an expression of true love. And kindness, as I say, with no thought of exchange, that's the important bit. This is not kindness I'll give to you because you'll give to me. Remember that. This is I'm going to be kind because I want to be kind and I want to give someone love. So whether it's somebody you know or a faceless person that you're donating to through a television charitable thing, whatever it is, give it wholesomely with your whole heart. But I want to now talk about kindness in business because it's often not something that people put together. But I believe if you're a leader of any sort, whether that's a family or an organization, a charity or a business, that kindness is a hugely important element if you want ongoing and sustained success. Now, I think the motive should come because you know it's the right thing to do. But the reality is it's great business too. Because when you treat your staff and your customers or clients with real kindness, then it makes such a difference. Now, does that mean that being kind means you have to be a pushover? Does that mean that you can't say something needs to be better? Well, in my experience, running my own award-winning school where I had 100 staff, and in the many businesses I've worked with since I started my own business in 2004, when business leaders, when team leaders, when people are kind to one another, the impact is profound and far-reaching because people are happier, people feel valued. You can then give them the hard feedback. You can say, do you know what, Fred or Bertha, that's not your best. I know you can do better. I believe in you. And I don't believe that this is the best that you can do. I want the best from you. And so you can actually give quite tough feedback, but do it in a kind and developmental way. One that doesn't back them into a corner making them feel bad, but one that makes them feel that they have the potential to do better. And one of the greatest, rewards really of leadership I found was when young, or even not that young, staff used to come and say, you know, when you tell me that I can do better, I know that in a way you're telling me off, but you're telling me in a way that really makes me want to try to be better, to be as good as you believe I can be. Now just think about that in the home setting as a parent, or if you are a leader of a group of any sort. You can only give that hard feedback and it not feel like you're having a go and being nasty if it comes from a place of true intention of kindness and in a place where you have created a relationship which is built on trust and respect and kindness. So for me, the two things go hand in hand. And the interesting thing for me is when leaders use that approach, people become more engaged. They want to help you deliver the vision that you have. They become much more proactive, more productive. And the result is that actually the business becomes far more profitable, but in a very much more constructive way. Instead of beating people with targets that are pretty difficult to reach and people feeling tired and completely wrung out, what people feel is a sense of ownership and a sense of possibility. Isn't it better that people want to work well, that want to engage, that enjoy coming to work because they feel valued, they feel that their contribution is recognised, rather than, oh God, I can't face it today. You know, in the UK alone, over half the prescriptions are for antidepressants. I believe that kindness, both giving and receiving, is a great antidote to needing antidepressants. But in business, In 2019, which is the latest figures pre-COVID that there were, and COVID has slightly skewed the figures, 75 billion pounds. Let me say that again. 75 billion pounds was lost through days off of work because of stress. How many of those days could have been avoided if they had worked in an environment that was kind? Now, I know that work's not the only contributor to people's depression, but it's a pretty big part of people's lives. And so often I know from coaching individuals, both leaders who are trying to lead but are finding it very difficult, and people who are on the receiving end of leaders who micromanage or who don't manage at all, that it's a pretty big contributor to depression, frustration and stress. 75 billion pounds. Now, presenteeism, which is when people are physically present in work but not firing on all cylinders, cost in excess of 140 billion pounds. People who weren't engaged, who didn't feel valued, who didn't feel that their contribution made any difference. Just think how the economy would shift if people worked in an environment that was kind. Does that mean that you are indulgent? No, it doesn't. In exactly the same way that when you are talking about being kind to yourself, being kind doesn't mean you're indulgent. And I want to spend the last few minutes of my talk talking about kindness to oneself. In my experience, and I have coached thousands of people and I've been involved with numerous businesses, the most difficult person that people feel that they can be kind to is themselves. They mistake kindness with overindulgence. I'm feeling down. I'm going to have a piece of chocolate cake because carrots and celery just don't do it. I'm feeling fed up, but actually I don't deserve to be kind to me. I can be kind to other people and that makes me feel better about myself, but I'm not kind to me. I want you to imagine the scales of justice. You know those things that sit on courts where you've got those old-fashioned weigh pans and they're on chains. And I want you to think about how you treat other people and how you treat yourself. And I would suggest to you that they need to be even. How you treat your best friend should be how you treat yourself. No better, but no worse. You know, in the Bible it says, treat your neighbour as yourself. Well, actually, for a lot of people, if you treated other people like you treat yourself, you wouldn't have any friends and your neighbours would want to move out. Think about the voice in your head. How often is that cruel? Is that unkind? Think about how you treat your body. Do you treat your body like a temple? Do you look after your body or not? Do you anaesthetize your body with food, alcohol, drugs, shopping, sex? Many people are so unhappy. They're looking for ways to feel better in the moment. The problem is it doesn't last because it's not intrinsically being kind to them. That cake for the moment that you're eating it is great, and then comes the guilt and the expanding waistline and the diabetes and everything else. Now, I'm not saying don't eat chocolate cake. I love chocolate cake. But be kind to yourself means eating it in moderation. Being kind to yourself means looking after you. You wouldn't feed a great friend stuff that you knew that was going to make them unhealthy. You wouldn't beat them about with the voice in the head on and on. You should have done this, you shouldn't have done this, you should have done this, as we do for ourselves. I've got a client that talks about her parrot, and I said to her, what do you do in a parrot squawking? She said, well, you put a cover over the cage. And I said, well, that's fine. She said, you know what? I'm going to shoot the blooming parrot. I have to say no animals were hurt in this time. So being kind to yourself first and foremost. The airlines say put your own oxygen mask on first, and they do that for a good reason, because then you're better able to help other people. If you're healthy and happy, you've got more resources to help other people. So helping yourself first, number one. Helping other people, animals, the environment, being kind, recycling, helping somebody. All of those things make a difference, and they raise your vibration and the vibration of the planet. And the planet, the world, humanity needs your help. It doesn't have to cost you lots of money. It doesn't have to cost you lots of time. It's a way of being. And the more you think about that way of being, the more your vibration will rise, the more you will be better resourced, your life will turn around and be more abundant. Every business I've worked with and using kindness has become far more profitable because kindness has been a central tenet of how they've led. How you lead your own life, how you treat other people is really, really important. In the description, you'll find a free gift from me. I hope that you will use it. I want to wish you all the best. And please, if you need any help, please contact me. Take care. Bye-bye now.